Right, in this task, you have been asked to make an audio or film presentation where you discuss the ideas behind your project, showing that you can communicate verbally effectively. In other words, you've got to speak, whether we can see you or whether we can just hear you. And you need to also refer to pictures and text, which are going to be in this presentation as well. Now, you need to refer closely to what's inspired your ideas, and this is going to be posted on your blog. And I will have the chance, and other students will have the chance, to post questions underneath it, which we will expect you to answer. So you can also copy into this presentation any work from the rest of your blog or other PowerPoints so it can go together. That's fine, as long as you're adding lots of new details for this particular task. Now, this is an alternative to speaking in front of the class, so you have to do this properly. As I am now, you need to be speaking in detail, you need to have a professional tone, you need to remember that this is representing you, and this is a really great chance to get high marks without having to write lots. In order to make a good presentation, you need to remember to make sure that the PowerPoint itself is good enough before you add any audio to it. In other words, don't rush it just because you want to get started and do lots of speaking. Try and make sure that you've actually got something to speak about first and it's all organised. So all your ideas need to be logical and planned. Think about what should go at the front of your PowerPoint, how it should develop to the end. Think about an order to show how you've made progress in your project. You also need to think about whether you need a script or any notes to remind you of what you need to mention. So right now, I'm reading off this PowerPoint, which is obviously very helpful, but I'm also saying things that aren't on it. So you need to make sure that there aren't going to be any awkward situations where you're going, because you don't know what you're going to say. You also need to keep a professional tone. Don't forget, in this task, you're supposed to be talking to a publisher. You're supposed to be putting yourself in that imaginary scenario where you are talking to somebody who you need to impress, and you need to look like you really know what you're talking about, you're passionate about what you're doing, and you obviously need to speak clearly. Topics you have to discuss in detail. You need to make sure that you cover all of these things, plus anything else you can think of, but these are at least is what you need in here. You need to obviously have the pitch for your magazine. In other words, you need to tell us all the basic details, its name, its mission, its strapline, its target audience, basically that table sheet that you did a while ago, that needs to be brought out. You also need to think about other real music magazines available in Brighton, which is your competition. You need to show that you've thought about the market out there and how you're going to compete with it. You need to talk about the music scene of your genre in Brighton. So you've got to show that you've researched, that you know Brighton bands or bands that have played in Brighton, about all the venues, all the kind of things that are happening in Brighton, like the Grape Escape Festival that we were talking about. You could do something on there, but just make sure that you're talking about this music scene, but you're also mentioning how you could refer to it in this magazine. Tell me who your target audience are. What do they want? Refer to your research, your questionnaires. What did they teach you about what they want? What ideas you've got for content and design. So use keywords like, mastheads, cover lines, all those kinds of things. And make sure that you're summing up at the end why it's really successful, why you think it would be successful in Brighton.
Here are some links to work by other students you can have a look at.